Last weekend Charlotte 600 was a spectacle to behold as the race's 30 lead changes were more than the 2016 and 2018 races combined. They even went 4 wide for the lead on the final restart. It's safe to say NASCAR as a sport is firing on all cylinders, and the momentum will remain in drive for the foreseeable future. That is, until you look at the schedule and realize that Pocono is the next stop on the tour. Over the past few races, this race has been a dreaded stop for the NASCAR faithful. Usually, the race is a snoozer for the first 130 laps until a violent crash bunches up the spread out field of 40 cars. In the end, however, the usual suspects MTJ and Kyle Busch excel the restart, pull away to a 5-second lead, and add more playoff points to their already staggering totals. What a waste of a Sunday afternoon, many would say. With that said, there have been some entertaining Pocono races in the track's nearly 50-year history that shall go unnoticed. In honor of Pocono's unique turns, we're going to analyze 3 races within the 2000s that consisted of lead changes, strategy, intensity, and an entertaining finish that kept fans engaged until the checkered flag. These races shouldn't be overlooked, and today it's their time in the spotlight. With that said, don't forget the trifecta on this channel by liking the video, subscribing, and smashing the bell icon so that you get notified about brand new uploads. There's nothing tricky about hitting the button, and I highly consider getting instant notifications with this channel. To kick things off, the 2001 July race was a highlighted event with Lord Alan Besk with Benny Parsons and Wally Dallenbach in the booth. The race was also a longer distance, as it is 100 miles longer than the typical 400 during the current NASCAR Cup Series races. Besides a crash with Elliott Sadler and Buckshot Jones, the first half of the 500-mile was tamed by Jeff Gordon. A Neon 24 Grace with Brilliant Flames completely dominated all green flag runs, and he was primed to win his 4th race of the campaign. The only interesting moments relied with lap cars staying out to remain on the lead lap, as with single file restarts back in the day, those cars would start ahead of the leaders. Those drivers raced hard and hoped for a caution, otherwise Jeff Gordon, Bill Elliott, and Ricky Rudd would catch them at an instant. Lap 151 was the turning point of the race, however, as Ward Burton spun and ignited the big one as the field exited turn 3. One of the drivers collected was Dale Jarrett, who entered the day as the NASCAR Cup Series points leader. The crash shipped them straight to the garage area for repairs, but the 88 team quickly cut away the nose damage and put the radiator back in place, or so they thought. As Jarrett returned to the race running 35th, however, the radiator missed position and the Robert Yates Racing team brought out the yellow on lap 159. This inevitably delivered the UPS car straight to the hauler, and to many, this was the turning point to Dale Jarrett's 2001 season. This caution created some strategy in the pits as most race teams elected fuel only to gain track position. Jeff Gordon was the major loser as Robbie Loomis called for 4 tires and fuel. As a result, the sellout crowd cheered as the 24 team exited the pits, and the DuPont team was relegated to a disappointing 8th place finish when it was all said and done. It was very disappointing as the 24 team dominated the race, but luckily they would win the following week at the Brickyard 400. So as the race restarted with just 40 laps to go, Johnny Benson found himself in clean air. Still looking for his first career win, he was able to lead 8 laps before Dale Jr. ended that optimism. Junior Nation arose as their Lord and Savior captured the top spot, and the bright number 8 Budweiser Chevrolet pulled away from the lead group. The sophomore driver was looking for his 2nd win during July and to keep up the momentum by visiting Victory Lane. The defending NASCAR champion, however, was looking for win number 1 on the season, and the Interstate Batteries team charged up with just 3 laps to go. Bobby Labonte and Dale Earnhardt Jr. battled, but in the end, the 18 car silenced the crowd and went on to win the race. The future Hall of Famer only led 4 laps on the day and wasn't one of the faster cars, but he executed when the race was on the line and therefore grabbed the checkered flag. Besides Jeff Gordon dominating the first half, this race was a hidden gem at the Tricky Triangle. Championship implications, strategy, some decent battles, and a late race pass gave the 2nd Pocono race of 2001 an enjoyable factor. The next highlighted event took place on June 11, 2006, as just a couple days after cars raced into theaters, the NASCAR Cup Series drivers and teams buckled up in the Pocono Mountains. Mike Joy, Larry Mack, and Darrell Waltrip called the 500-mile race, and most certainly they were treated to a thrilling and action-packed event all day long. Denny Hamlin took the green flag from the pole position as the rookie sensation was searching for his first career victory in his 21st series start. The FedEx team was setting foot on the ground, netting 49 of 50 circuits from the lead position. With that said, a left rear tire issue caused the winning package to get delayed, and the 11 team had to repair the damage and restart well outside the top 30. With the dominant car in trouble, Kurt Busch and the Blue Deuce easily capitalized and led 31 laps out front. The event saw a great amount of lead changes as 25 transitions took place within the 500-mile race. Drivers such as Brian Vickers and Jeff Burton proved their machines had high horsepower and could contend for the trophy and win at the Tricky Triangle. Not only were there battles up front, but things actually happened during the course of the event. Before the quarter mark, Greg Biffle's brakes hit the floor, which caused the 16 team to lose positions, repairing the issue. Luckily, the subway machine was given a fresh start, and Biffle would lead a solid 34 laps and finish in the 6th position. Sterling Marlin, Mike Garvey, Jeff Green, and Terry Labonte also had mechanical issues, but unfortunately they were sidelined from completing the race. The biggest issue, however, relied within the final stretch to the finish, as Jeff Gordon suffered a violent crash with the Turn 1 wall. The brakes faded on the DuPont Chevrolet Monte Carlo, but luckily the 4-time NASCAR champion was able to walk away unscathed. This crash provided a positive for the new safer barrier walls, which were just starting to grace the outside of most racetracks. That's why we need more safer barriers on every highway in America. Jeff Gordon's collision shaped up an interesting restart as Denny Hamlin rebounded to take the top position. They were the dominant car of the race, and Denny just needed to deliver the restart of his life. He indeed delivered, holding off Kurt Busch, Tony Stewart, and Brian Vickers to earn career victory number 1. It was relieving to see a fresh face in victory circle, as at the time Denny Hamlin looked like a generational driver in the garage area. Compared to the July race of 2005 where Kurt Busch completely dominated, this race consisted of a few strong contenders and some young blood capitalizing late in the going. Certainly something lacking in this day and age, as Chase Elliott is the only driver under 25 with a victory here in 2019. While Pocono couldn't get a strike in 2013, the Go Bowling 400 in July put together a good event on the spare try. Alan Bestwick once again works his magic as the 21st race of the season kicks off on a hot summer day. Passing out front occurred frequently, with 27 lead changes happening between 12 different drivers. With the action surrounding the top spot, chaos and calamity ensued mid-pack. There were a couple big wrecks, including Danica Patrick completely running out of talent and wrecking Travis Quaffle, Jeff Burton, and Paul Menard in the process. In addition, the 2 championship favorites would see a fair share of inconsistencies and problems throughout the day. Matt Kenseth was involved in 2 crashes, which left the number 20 Husky Tools Toyota trying to repair an already lost race. The Wisconsin native would end up finishing 22nd, and he was a complete non-factor the entire race. Meanwhile, points leader Jimmy Johnson led 43 laps to begin the day, which was ruined by a blown tire nearly past the halfway mark. He recovered for a solid 13th place finish, but his chances of sweeping the Pocono Mountains clean ran out of bristles. The lack of Lowe's and Home Depot left business wide open for the win, and with just 2 laps to go, a storm was brewing for the Chase Bubble drivers. Casey Kane had dominated the race by leading the most circuits, and Ryan Newman was riding momentum after his victory at the Brickyard 400 a week prior. Under the current Chase format, 2 wildcard positions would be awarded to 2 drivers outside the top 10 in points with the most victories. Both drivers having 1 win on the tour, earning a 2nd victory, would all but lock themselves into the championship fight. Meanwhile, both Jeff Gordon and Kurt Busch remain winless on the season, but were consistent enough to hover around the top 10 in points. Under this format, no matter the amount of wins, you are guaranteed a chance at the championship if you remain ahead of the 11th place driver. While they were having great points days, a victory by either driver would give them some leeway in case of a bad race or two. So on the restart, Jeff Gordon got a great jump on the inside lane, while Casey Kane and Kurt Busch were unable to match his momentum. With that said, the blue and red Farmer Chevrolet pioneered turn 1 to race side by side with the 4-time champion. Entering the tunnel, no contest was to be had as the 5 car sailed it in on the outside and left Jeff Gordon in the dust. Casey Kane would grab his second win of 2013 and leave Jeff Gordon's faithful with pain and misery for the first time since 2010. Overall, this race was an all-around great event, with the points battle adding more action and suspense for the impending finish. Definitely the best Pocono race of the Gen 6 era. So there you have it, 3 Pocono races that were actually enjoyable to watch. These events had storylines, intensity, and the typical Pocono incidents the fans tuned in for, and it built up to the falling action in the final push to the checkers. These events were gravitating and enjoyable to watch, even as a Jeff Gordon fan, as he lost in depressing fashion or wrecked in all of these races I featured. Hopefully you guys gained some confidence in Sunday's race, as the new aero package should make things a bit better than seasons prior. So anyways, this is NRF signing out, and just remember, life's a beach and then you drive.